What is an impactologist? It's a question I get asked very frequently. Well, I define myself as somebody who looks at the behavior of some of the world's most influential people to understand what it is that they do that creates their impact. How do they convince? How do they influence? And how do they motivate people? Understanding their tools and techniques to be able to share them with other people. So how is what I do different from a pitch doctor? Well, interestingly enough, pitching and helping people pitch is a small moment in people's time, and of course there's a great deal of pressure to be able to do it really well. I also find that I only get a small period of time with people before their pitch to be able to help them create things and create the behaviors and tools and techniques to create that impact. Behind that, of course, is a great deal of theory, there's a great deal of understanding, and there's a great deal of tools and techniques that they can use. So what I will often do is help people with a pitch and tell them exactly what to say without them really fully understanding the why I would suggest that and how it would make that great impact. So in fact, what I often find doing is ongoing training and coaching to bid teams and salespeople and leaders so that they can create that impact from an understanding of why I'm telling them what to do with their body, with their words, with their voice, to create an ongoing impact, not just in that small moment of time around an important pitch. How does one become an impactologist? Well, it wasn't something that happened overnight. I've been in sales and sales leadership and training roles for almost 30 years. For the last 14 years, I've been running my own training and development consultancy, looking always to understand what are the tools and techniques of influence or impact. So over a period of time, I studied a number of different disciplines, a number of different ways of influencing people under the headings of sales or negotiation or presentation or leadership. And having looked at all of those different areas, one of the things that really stood out to me and really made me think about where I could add value to people was this idea of people's personal impact, how they as individuals come across, and all of the things that lead into that personal impact. And that was the area I decided I wanted to focus on and pay attention to, because I realized with my background and my ability to observe and understand not only what successful leaders do, but how to translate that into what ordinary people can do, that's where I can really add the most value in terms of my interaction with other people. I've worked with a variety of different clients, and what they've all got in common is that understanding that if they can increase their personal impact, they will also increase their chances of success. And all commercial organizations are looking for the competitive advantage. Most recently, I've worked with a tech startup company, helping them sharpen their pitch to be part of the Marriott Hotel Testbed Accelerator program. And Marriott looked at 140 tech startups, did 10 interviews and/or pitches, and selected 2. And one of those was a company that I coached to help them with their messaging, what to say, but also their delivery in terms of how to actually say it. So a broad variety of different clients, but that's one, a tech startup most recently. So can public speakers benefit from an impactologist? The short answer, absolutely. And why would I say that? Because that's a point in time when most people are actually at their least confident, most nervous, and least likely to come across as well as they possibly can. They can deliver wonderfully in a room by themselves, but put them in front of an audience and people's confidence that goes down, and often with it their performance. So what I do as an impactologist there is not only boost people's confidence and give them psychological tools and techniques to handle that, but also give them confidence in specific tools and techniques that will raise their game, raise the impact that they have, and increase their chances of success. 5 things that I would recommend would all come under the banner of one big thing, and that big thing is planning and preparation. And there's so many things that come underneath that. Thinking about what is your specific goal, what do you want this audience to think, to feel, or to do as a result of your presentation. And once you define that, it's then really all about, well, how do I achieve that particular result? The thing that I find for most presentations that I watch, most people that I help, is they just haven't given that enough thought. They're thinking, oh, I know this product, I know my company, I know what I want to say, I'll just stand up and I'd ad-lib. And of course, that's a recipe for disaster in terms of the overall outcome. So the first key thing would be planning and preparation and everything that would come underneath that. The second thing that I would say is about how do you open? That opening is so crucial. It's your one moment to make a good first impression. And yes, you can get it back if you don't open particularly well, but it takes a lot of work. I saw a study recently that said it takes 22 good second impressions to get over a bad first impression. And a bad first impression as a presentation is often, hello, my name is, and I'm going to tell you this, which makes most people reach for their smartphones these days. It doesn't really hook or engage them. So an opening hook would be a second thing that I would say would be really important. A third thing would be the other end of the presentation. That ending, that call to action. Too many presentations I see ends with, well, and that's what I wanted to share with you. It kind of ends on a flat. It's what I call the falling off the edge of a cliff ending. As opposed to thinking about, what's that call to action? What do you want them to do? What's the action you're expecting? What's the thing that they should go away thinking or feeling? So preparation, the opening, the close. A fourth thing that I would think is very important is a piece of feedback that so many people really need. They're what I call behind their slides. So a slide comes up with a message, with an idea, with some statistics, and then people start talking about what's already visually available to the audience. So this lowers your credibility as far as a speaker, and they're going, well, where are you adding value? Because I've already read the quote, I've already read the statistics, I've already defined the message. And people are incredibly impatient these days. They will read ahead. So one of these things, what I call transiting. How do you move from one message to another? So giving some sort of clue, even a question or a hint as to what might be on the next slide before you go to it, really increases your credibility and your confidence. Because the opposite, what I often see, is something I call slide surprise, where people are very fluent on a slide, they flick up their next slide, and then they have to go look, yes, and they have to gather the thoughts to think about what's their key message from that particular piece of visual aid. The next one would be, the fourth thing I think would be visual aids. The clues in the name, visual aid. Too often I see slides or presentations that are actually a visual aid distraction. They take away from the speaker. They're there to help you, not to replace you. So make sure that you're always center stage and your visual aid is backing you up rather than taking center stage. And when it's fulfilled its purpose, press the B key on your computer, which will blank out the visual aid, meaning therefore you become the central focus of what it is that the audience are looking at, paying attention to, and of course being motivated by. Human beings are much more motivated by the people than they are a visual. It's good visual aid, but don't let it be a visual distraction. So can anybody use the services of an impactologist? I would say yes, but the qualification would be, is convincing, is influencing, is motivating other people part of your role? And those are the people who are going to get the most benefit from interacting with myself and get the most return on their investment, because that's really where I add value. How to convince, how to influence, and how to motivate other people. So anybody who's in a leadership position, anybody who's in a senior sales position, anybody who's going out and looking to build fantastic relationships either internally within their organization or externally with customers. So how can people find out more? Very easy to find in these days. www.theimpacttologist.com. 2 T's in the middle. Impacttologist. Or find me on Twitter @Impacttologist.